So it's also important to explore with the facilitator that dual role of being the facilitator and the participant in the group that they're leading. I think this is one of the more challenging things for facilitators to navigate because, especially with new facilitators, they often show up wanting to be perfect and have everything figured out and have all the answers. And this is really about showing up with their authenticity and humanity and process and journey and imperfections and not their perfection. So part of what we're doing is, we're going to go over a couple key components of this, but part of what we want to do is help facilitators learn how to navigate this and to make sure that the facilitators are stepping in as participants and stretching themselves as much as they are asking their group members to, because the absence of that can often halt the process that happens in the group. So the absence of sharing can halt, from the facilitator sharing, can absolutely halt or slow the sharing that happens in a group.
And I think there's a common kind of misunderstanding, or that people really think, oh, if I share, or if I'm using up too much time in the group, or am I going to get emotional and not be able to take care of myself? So this is something that I think many facilitators don't necessarily bring to supervision, and it's our supervisor's awareness that this is an important element to ask about.
And so the first thing to focus on is that idea of self-disclosure. For a lot of facilitators, being a leader and also letting themselves be vulnerable is a delicate balance. And so it's helping them find first what is moving in them that they might want to share, and next really helping them navigate that level of sharing that can help connect group members, that can help deepen the process, that can normalize emotion or response for group members. It's also recognizing that for a group facilitator, helping them understand that they can share about what's going on and what they're feeling without having to give all of the history and all of the details, that there are ways to show up without taking over the group.
So it's really important to explore what they said and how they said it and how it felt, and then what the group response was, because their sharing is tied to the group. And often when they can be aware of the themes or what's happening in the group process and use their sharing in an authentic way, but also something that's helpful for the group. So that's the difference in terms of how they share and how a participant is. Participant comes in and they're really in their process, where the group facilitator has that awareness of themselves, each individual in the group, and the full group process.
Yes. And one other thing I think I would add is that the timing of that sharing can be important too. So for a group facilitator who shares with you that they went into the group feeling really overwhelmed because of something that happened right before, you want to know, not only did they share that with the group, but you want to know if they decided to check in first, or if they held it, because a lot of times what facilitators may not realize is that in the absence of their sharing, when they are experiencing intense emotion, what often happens is the group members pick it up and it makes them nervous, because then they start wondering if they have to take care of the group facilitator. And so that transparency piece is also part of that self-disclosure and showing up.
I think that part of being transparent is being authentic. And self-disclosure really helps you, and it's going to help you relax as a facilitator. So I think that part of asking and exploring with the facilitators in supervision what they feel about self-disclosure, because I think a lot of people come in with their preconceived ideas about it, maybe from past clinical training, and bringing it back again to the group experience. That the group, as they lead groups, that's going to be their greatest teacher.
And you can hear, as we've been talking about this, that already in addition to self-disclosure, we've branched into some of these other areas, like helping the facilitator deal with emotion.
Yes.
And
right.
helping the facilitator be authentic.
I think that part of always having part of the supervision call around what were you feeling in the group, what was moving within you, and what else do you need to be able to show up at the group at the next session is another way to help with emotion. A lot happens on a supervision call, and you can encourage people to continue to work on this either by using our mind-body skills, talking with their co-facilitator, doing other things outside of supervision, and then coming back to your next call and kind of asking about that. Mm-hmm. You know, you're also bringing in that thread of learning through all the calls of supervision.
And what Linda said is a really important point, because they may bring into supervision some of the things that were stirring in them. For you as a supervisor, you're inquiring about what came up for them, what got triggered. You're not diving into it and making it a counseling session. Because really, for you as a supervisor, one of the things you're doing is you're holding that awareness that they were in a facilitator role and something was moving in them. You want to know not just what happened, but how they worked with it as a facilitator, how it got in the way, how it opened something. So you're always in supervision as you're exploring any of this, bringing them back to that question of, and how did that affect you as you were leading the group? How did that affect you as you moved on from your sharing to the next person or the next activity or the next exercise?
And you can also tie in, as you lead this next group, even right now on our call, in our supervision call, what would you say? How would you do that? How would you work as a team if they have a co-facilitator, and really practice that? Because that's going to help them find their style, their voice, and help them feel more comfortable and confident.